Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 13th of November, and we are doing a live, I guess, a simulcast. I don't know what else to call it. I'm with Brandon, the Big Sib. He is back by popular demand, and even if you didn't popularly demand him, he would have came back anyways. So here he is.
Well, hey, brother. Hey, brother. How you doing, buddy? Glad to be back.
Okay, I've already lost internet on one computer. You good? You good to go over there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, here we are. All right, we're good. We're good. I lost. All right, I was getting a little nervous. There's a lot of people waiting in the chat right now on both channels. I see.
Well, it went live on my channel, I think.
It did.
It did. It did. So, guys, we're trying to do something a little bit different. Stream on both channels at one time. So just deal with the technical difficulties. And my channel, you know, I'm not going to comment much while I'm chatting. I can't catch the squirrels, folks.
Squirrels, baby, squirrels. Yep, we're good. We're good to go. Your channel is rolling. My channel's rolling. We got this. All right, so that's out of the way. We're good to go. Audio seems good. I'm going to skip the shout outs. Well, maybe we'll do it at the end or something because let's get to this. We started a little bit late, and this is a pretty important one. But before we do that, let me just, this is an answer to about 56 emails. Please don't send me video links to other people's channels. I really don't care. It's annoying. I did put a part 2 up to the 10 cheap must-have survival items if everything goes horribly wrong. These are all things you don't need links for. You can, I mean, I'm talking about sponges, stuff like that, but it's stuff that you wouldn't think of until you couldn't get them anymore. So there's that. Jailbreak Overlander or not, we're back. There we go. All right, brother. We hit on this topic not too long ago. I think maybe even in a phone call or after a live show. And you were explaining to me, I was asking you about this, the Wailing Wall and what it actually is they were doing, because you had played a clip. Where is this, man? You had played a clip of, did I seriously lose this? Here we go. I'm messing this all up. You had played a clip, and it was the guy saying that Christians need to be killed because they're idol worshipers, and then you flipped right over to them standing in front of the wall with the little square thing that allegedly has parchment and scripture in it, and they're just absolutely freaking out. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted you to expand on that. So,
well, what you have here is the Tigun, Tigun, and this is the Davening. And for anybody out there that doesn't know what this is, it's Davening, and this is a coupling with the Shekinah. And of course, the one thing about their when I say the tree of life and the tree of death is their Sephiroth. So you have it as above, so below. You have a tree of life, which is the front side, and the tree of death, which is the below side. And each tree has 11 Sephiroth on it with a hidden path called what's called the Klepoth, going into the dark side. That's where you get Darth Vader from and everything else. But anyway, at each time they get up here and they start doing this dance with the jinn, the demons, it's copulation with these demons. And when one of them does not answer, they just go to the next one. And what this is the God of forces and trying to manipulate the spirits around them. And what I want to touch on first is before we go any further.
All right.
This is for always for selfish desires. And this is how you can tell the difference between a humble believer in the Father and not putting the self first. Because, of course, the carrying of the cross is the stauros. That's the self, the denial of self. This is a total antagonistic viewpoint of life. And this is what they're doing at that wall is complete. And, of course, first off, let's do this. That's not the temple. That is the Roman Fort Antonia.
So what does that mean? You've said that before. So just you're going to have to pardon my ignorance here. What do people, why does every president, before he's going to be president, before they select him, why does he have to go to this wall in Israel, put on the little hat, and pretend he's praying? What do they claim that wall is?
Well, it's mainly the show, the bread and circus, the Roman bread and circus, right? But of course, what you first have to understand is this is paying homage to the system. When they go over there, they're showing obedience. Because remember this, I showed y'all this, that the international court is going to end up sitting in Jerusalem. Well, the international court is the operation of these things are interconnected like this, Richie. When I speak about the law and then I speak about Kabbalah and Judaism, make no mistake, these two are joined at the hip through Rome. But when they go there, they're showing their submission to this systems of men. The kingdoms of men is what they are submitting to. And this is the operation done right in front of, hidden in plain sight, where men and women just can't see the truth.
Okay. And this thing is actually a Roman fortress, and nobody seems to care about that. That just goes. Yeah. I mean, you can find links to it still. You can still find links where they say it's actually a Roman fortress and blah, blah, blah. But then they always spin it to, but it's the most holiest place ever, so forth and so on. I can't help but notice that these guys are wearing these little. Let me get this out of the way. These guys are wearing these little what to me looks like an idol on their forehead, and then you look at their sworn enemy, you know, the bad guys, and they're all circling around this big giant thing, the Kaaba stone.
The Kaaba stone, which listen, so let's do this right now. Let's make no mistake about this, folks. This is all phallic worship. This is all sex magic, and on the edge of that Kaaba stone, you will find a vessel, a little silver vessel that's a vagina, pretty much. It's the female womb is what's on the side of that.
And that's the thing that they go around. Everybody, they have to pilgrimage there. They have to go around it 7 times counterclockwise, and the goal is to kiss that thing. Correct?
Oh, yes, right. And so, okay, so we do like this, dude. You have the Teflon. What's called the Teflon is the 7 wraps of the black cord or black tape that go around the Jews for their prayer. You'll see it at the Wailing Wall. They got that 7 wraps Teflon. It's always the same thing. Listen, folks, you have been bought into the lie that there's a difference between this in Saudi Arabia and the thing that's going on in Israel. The truth is, at the top of the steps of the ladder, it's all the same. It's the fools on the bottom that believe this. But this is what's going on. This is phallic worship. This is the sex magic, the Babylonian magic, and it's right there in front of your face. And Rabbi Yehuda Glick said it perfectly, and I've done this. There's an Egyptian breakdown of the word Ka-ba Allah, and of course, Rabbi Yehuda Glick goes back and says that God is Allah, right? What we don't understand and recognize is the connections between these religions. And of course, this goes into because the infiltration and subversion of all religions has happened through Judaism and Rome. And make no mistake, they're one and the same.
Go ahead, brother. I just got to throw some jerk off out. And he's gone. So did I distract you by putting the cube up too quick?
No, brother. Sometimes it'll kick off just like the Teflon. I remember the Teflon deal. And when you said they run around that thing 7 times, it's all correlation, right? And this is that number magic that we were talking about earlier before we come on live. They do everything. It's a ritual. And when we see it on TV, we're taking part in the ritual. And this, of course, is why the TV programming and the indoctrination, the predictive programming comes through the TV, because really what they're doing is initializing us into the occult. It's part of the revelation of the method. And these things are just, it would be paramount for people to block off their subconscious from there. There it is. She knows. There you go. The Kaaba. And of course we get into the Kaaba Allah, and you got the, it's all there. There you go, Yoni.
Oh my, the Kaaba Allah, the Kabbalah.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
You see that?
So for all the people that wonder why I have Brandon on so much, because he's good at this. Do you see what I'm saying? I probably, if I didn't just catch that, especially with the commenter at the same time, I might not have caught that whatsoever at all.
Well, yeah, and the cause of one of the spirits and the bi is the other. But listen, folks, this is a perversion of knowledge, right? What you're having here is the union. This is an alchemical transformation and the merging of the male and the female, disregarding the rules of nature, the rules of our creator, and saying, hey, we're not going to do that. We're going to join together and we're going to become the divine hermaphrodite. And that's the goal of this perverted thoughts process.
All right, this is the link that you wanted me to put up here, the pagan polytheistic Judaism, and I was shocked that it was still up.
You can scroll down a little bit and you'll see them davening at Fort.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
let me blow this up a touch so they can see that better and get rid of this comment. Yeah, even just watching them do this, I never understood why this looks exactly like people speaking in tongues, handling snakes, doing crazy stuff. That dude looks insane. I think,
one of the worst things.
Dude, look what he's doing. I mean, it's pretty straight up. He's kissing and then, listening to the Eurythmics or whatever.
Right. And one of the things that before the week or so before I did the Tikkun Olam, or whenever I did this, I had showed a Christian church with a bunch of children doing this inside the church, making them copulate with the Shekinah. And this is what's going on all over the place. This is the labyrinths and everything else. This all springs forth from one place, one well, Mystery Babylon. And it's pretty easy to see. And of course, we can just go to our book in the book of Matthew, and Yahusha says, not one stone will be left on the temple. And there isn't, because this is Fort Antonia.
Unbelievable. So why do you think, what is in your opinion, because I never actually really thought very much of it, other than they're going to show their allegiance to Israel, because as soon as any presidential candidate, super bright white, a guy so white that he's see-through, who claims he's a Christian, who grew up in the Midwest, is suddenly in Israel with a yarmulke on, doing this as best as he can in front of the wall, looking foolish to most Americans, but nobody thinks anything of it. And I guess I haven't either. Why are they doing this? Is that it? Are they just there to show that they're, make Israel great again?
Well, remember this system. This is the system, the kingdoms of men, right? And this is essentially what this Mystery Babylon is. When you come to that recognition that teaching for doctrines, the commandments of men, and that's what the system bows down to. That's what it's all about. It's destroying all cultures. It's destroying all heritage. It's destroying all nations. And this weekend, we're going to get into that discussion of nations and stuff on my channel. But this is the overarching agenda, is to destroy everybody's identity. And the only thing left is this perverted junk.
Well, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. And it's amazing. It's amazing how much absolute influence these guys have over this country, and people still don't get it. It blows me away how everybody, even in the truth community, for whatever is left of it, people understand that over the last 10 years specifically, they just suddenly kicked it up. God's not real. 10 commandments are offensive. People shouldn't talk about Jesus. But then on the other hand, the military's, we're going to give these guys room to sit down and talk about the Satanic Temple, and the Satanic Temple's going for their 501c3. And just every single solitary time you turn around, this stuff is coming up. So we live in a country where believing in God is ridiculous. What are you, stupid? Science is proof. Come on. Big Bang. Outer space. Aliens, man. Come on. We got Molech sitting at the Colosseum. The Vatican put him there. It's all good. Everything's cool. we're just not going to do that anymore. And yet, why is it Israel gets a pass on absolutely everything? Because the only reason that we even had our arm around them originally back in the 40s, when we set the entire state up for them, is because they were the chosen people. So what's the deal now? They're the chosen people of an invisible, science proved isn't real thing. Do you see? Did that make any sense? It's a laundry, man.
Well, I saw something on Potter's Clay channel the other day with what's the guy's name? The black guy's name? The scientist, where he was on there saying, talking about science. Well, let's do the root word for science, right? The root word is scientia from Latin, meaning knowledge, right? And what they're essentially saying when science is their God is that they are God. It's all the same. It's once you break through these barriers, that they can usurp the throne in the kingdom of heaven and become gods themselves. Oh, etymology. That's a good question. Which word in particular are you talking about? And of course, this is important. This is why I'm talking about the root of science, right? When you start seeing these words as what they were originally meant to be, you start seeing through the lies, because the spell starts with the spelling of a word, and it's really essential to know that. That's like the double speak. I think it's called pil, and you'll find it everywhere. And I'll read something to everybody. This is from another Maimonides. In order to maintain the distinction between the written Torah, the Hebrew Bible, and the oral law, the Talmudic sages conceived the idea of pilpul, that's Pilpul, as a means to join each law to its biblical proof text. Rabbis would debate what in legal terms would be the formal title of each law. Differences would arise regarding these legal titles that a court must use in a criminal charge. Well, what I'm going to tell you right here, what pilpul is double speak. It's let me give everybody an analogy and an allegory. Okay, when you get pulled over by a law officer, he says anything you say can and will be used against you. What's the negative of that? Anything you don't say can and will be used against you. Also, if you don't know your rights, you have none. And this is the area that everything operates in, with these wicked lawyers and these practices of witchcraft, and it's all across the board. This is what's running our society, and it is evident in the trajectory and the overall decadence of our society.
The chat is not frozen. The black cube on their heads is the same as the black cube in Mecca. They're all praying to Satan. And then you've got this rabbi saying that Allah is the one true God, which is kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Rabbi Yehuda Glick. That would be Yehuda Glick. He was a part of the Temple Mount Association. He's not just some Johnny-come-lately rabbi. But yeah, this is really, it boils down to the destruction of all morality, folks. And make no mistake, the infiltration and subversion of America's church and Christianity has been the goal for a long time. They've lowered our literacy rate. They've lowered our ability to think for ourselves. We're to the point now we can't even read Cat in the Hat books and understand what we're reading. This is the overarching agenda. An ignorant society will always be wicked. And that's just a fact. A strong and educated society will be morally upright.
Okay, for whatever reason, this Yehuda Glick praying with the Muslims is not shot in Jerusalem. Works for, yeah, I can't get it to play, man. It won't play on the live stream, which is okay. Very, very strange.
You can find it all over the internet. He says it all the time. Of course, they try to hide that stuff sometimes. I mean, information's disappearing. I'm gonna tell you, while you brought that up, a few of my trusted websites are now gone, and it was a couple websites and blogs that shared things about the law and how it actually operates. They've disappeared in the last week, and it's and of course, we got the December 10th thing coming up too. We'll see how the shakeup on YouTube goes.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's absolutely going to be ugly. So they've just made it. Anybody that's not financially viable is gone. So if your channel's too small that YouTube can't make money off it, you're gone. If your channel has 344,000 subscribers, but you're demonetized, you're gone. You see what I mean? So it's coming. We knew it was coming, but that just tells me that there's something on the other end. Like December 10th, everyone's completely silenced. Speaking of that, I find it really strange that the other day there was a video of Palestinians shooting rockets at Israel. And when you look at the footage, there's no rocket incoming. There's an explosion on the ground with an enormous bright blue flash, which to me looks like something from a platform above. I don't know exactly what, directed energy, whatever. But apparently all over Twitter right now, Trump has sent Israel the most expensive, up-to-date, devastating technology so that they go over and take the rest of that land. So it's going to get ugly, and I'm sure it won't be televised. You know?
Yeah. Well, what's been happening there is nothing short of just all-out genocide, and that goes throughout the whole Middle East, right? Since the beginning of the Desert Storm, the first one on through. If you just take a little bit of time to go research the numbers of Christians that have disappeared off the map, they don't get to immigrate or move into other countries. They've just disappeared, and you'll find out that Iraq and these countries that we've gone into had the largest amounts of Christians living there. This is the enemy, the true enemy. They give you this show that ISIS is working and hell bent on destroying Israel, but the truth is, none of these, you won't ever see any of these countries actually attack Israel, but it's always these mercenary groups working on the ground and killing the men and women and the children that actually live there. And of course, now they're going to, these countries that we've gone in and brought freedom are now going to be occupied corporate zones. And really what we've done is destroy another culture. And that's really what it is.
And the funny thing is I retweeted that on Twitter, and I put in the hashtag Palestinians are Semitic. And then I also put the hashtag here comes the list, because as soon as you say anything like that, right off the bat, I'm going to have new followers on Twitter that are saying this kid does videos with the big sib and he's on a hate, the ball will start rolling. I just wanted to remind them that anti-Semitic Palestinians are Semitic people, just FYI. But that will be completely glossed over. And speaking of ISIS, which just popped up out of nowhere, and another one of their gods or goddesses, it's amazing that Americans didn't even say anything when they said, we were in Iraq and we left, I don't know, 10, 20,000 Hummers with missile launchers, and we left hundreds of thousands of M16s, and we just left it over there. And then these guys came and picked it up, and now they're an army. And now we got to deal with them. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But they sit there and they watch. Okay, no reaction. People are still watching Sunday Night Football, and they're worrying about J-Lo's clothing falling off or whatever. I don't even know if J-Lo's still a thing or not. But that's exactly what they do. And Americans, by and large, aren't letting them down, man. Not at all.
Well, we can't. The Americans today can't remember yesterday's news, and one of the best things that
he's always watching me. It's very creepy. Just sorry, go ahead.
One of the weirdest things that I ever found on the internet, and I haven't been able to find it here lately, was an interview on CNN in about 1992 where a couple intelligence specialists were discussing who was ISIS, and they were talking about ISIS, right? Well, of course, they said it live on TV that ISIS is the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service.
Bingo. Yeah, we've all run that video a few times over the years, and everyone got hit. So.
Yeah, it's one of those, and of course, it's the bread and circus. The TV presents a reality to you that isn't true. That's like when my brother got home from Syria. He said, man, nothing that's going on over there is really ever played on the TV here. It's totally different. And of course, that's that smoke and mirrors reality.
Right. That's the other thing too, is it's why, I don't watch television. I don't own a television. I'm going on like 8 years now. So there's that. Somebody sent me a link. Somebody sent me a link to an HBO show, a miniseries or something called Generation Kill. And as soon as I saw the title, I'm like, this is dumb. I don't want to watch this. I looked it up, and I found out that Generation Kill was a movie, miniseries on HBO. It was the recon Marines spearheading the attack on Baghdad in a column of unarmored Hummers. and they had a Rolling Stone writer in the first Hummer. So this guy saw this entire thing firsthand. Watching Generation Kill, you can see the soldiers going from like, let's go kill these dudes, to what are we doing here? This is like, it goes really quick. And some of the guys that were actually there driving into Baghdad played themselves. It's a great mini series that's on HBO that if you want to watch it, you can see how soldiers have no clue what's going on until they finally do. And then all of a sudden you watch how the military will come crushing down upon them. And now you can understand why we lose 22 veterans a day to suicide. 22 veterans a day to suicide. It's unbelievable, man.
Well, that's well. Let's do this in experience and reality, and let's see why they focus on a child coming straight out of high school. These kids have no life experience; they have no idea how the world really operates. And of course, you take that young man or woman and shove them into the military, and they'll find out in 4 or 5 years if that particular individual is a psychopathic enough to climb up the ladder. And those are the ones that are cherry picked out, is the ones that have no love for life or humanity. And that's the ones who move up, and the rest of them go back to the world with a brand new view, like my brother, and have a totally different outlook on life.
Is he is I mean, you don't have to answer. It's your personal business, and it could turn into a video. So, but is your brother coming around? Is he understanding what you're? That's phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
dude. I don't have that. I don't have that. In 10 years of being Richie from Boston, like the cat's out of the bag. I never told my family or anything, but they all know now. They just, you know, it's like, hey, remember when I used to tell you about the planes? Like they're doing loops up in the sky now, right over, like right there. See it? Like that's not normal. And then all of a sudden I put that video up, and then the news is like, oh, come on. People are talking about chemtrails on YouTube. These are holding patterns. Dude, I'm looking out this window. Well, the drapes are closed, but if I was looking out this window, I could see Logan Airport.
Yeah.
I've been watching the sky for my entire life. Airplanes don't do perfectly spaced, perfectly sized loops that every one of them moves in front of the sun like it's on a machine. It was amazing. It was a hell of a feat of engineering, I'd have to say. Yeah, Jesus Freak, the NASA guy, was speaking highly about you the other night too. I forget what he was saying. Yeah, he's a smart dude. He's just, I don't know.
I went and watched a few of his videos the other day. He showed up on in a live stream last week. I did go watch look, when I have a difference of view from other people, I don't just discredit them. I think he has a very intelligent manner about him.
Oh, he's eccentric. You can tell that he's brilliant, man. You can. I'll tell you what, you think he's just going absolutely batshit. I'm like, dude, we reel it back in, kid. Reel it. He'll talk for 20 minutes and then come right back to the point. I cannot do that. 20 minutes later, we're talking about squirrels, brother, because I don't have any idea what's going on.
Well, and you know, that's one of the things where I've learned over time to stay kind of in my lane, right? What I know to be true. And I focus on things that I can prove to people in black and white. But I can promise you right now, if you were to jump off in the Big Sibs, Brandon's head for about 15 minutes, you'd run away bat crap crazy, wondering why is he thinking all these things. But I mean, it really is. It takes a different mind to think these things through. Indeed.
Yeah, I don't sleep well at night just because of all the stuff that I know. So I really right here. Say that again.
I like old Ryan. I've spoken to Ryan. He's a good guy.
Yeah, Ryan NC's been around forever. He's one of the guys that he's been around forever. So there's a lot of people that pop up, and I hate to look at them with suspiciously, but the military has taken over the internet. That's old news. We're all now domestic terrorists. That's old news. You see what I'm saying? So you have to keep these things in mind. So there's that.
Well, I pulled up the 1984 manual on mimetic warfare. And this was in 1984, folks.
What do you mean when you say mimetic warfare?
It's a manual on mimetic warfare and how they were going to use it to ideologically subvert the entire nation. And this comes from the Marine Corps. I can't remember. I'll send it to you. I've still got it on.
Well, It's well. Let me ask then. Is this along the same vein as the ex-KGB guy who said, "I can't believe that America's been doing this to our own people for this long. It only takes 5 years. They're going on 15. Pull the bananas out of your ears."
Yeah, that's right. Well, in the mimetic warfare, in that document that's declassified, it straight up said that this is a means of ideologically subverting a nation, and that's. I mean, you can't get any clearer than that. It's a declassified document in mimetic warfare, and it's one of these things. Especially since I'm on Twitter, sometimes you can see the memes that come from nowhere and just blow up. It's
not organic. It's not organic. I said that once about the LBGT, and I got my channel hit bad. I said, if it was an organic, if it was natural, if this was all just a natural process that was happening as humans were evolving as people, not evolving from monkeys, but evolving as people, you wouldn't need all these laws and all this promotion and all this. You have to do this and you can't say that. You know what I'm saying? You can tell what's real and what isn't. So somebody asked what mimetic meant.
Well, hell, let's look it up. I don't want to give you a fake definition.
You lying bastard. All right, guys, you look it up. I'm going to jump in the chat. We got Neo Bailey, Cupcake Explosion. That's a good one. Andrew Potter's got the wrench. Rusty Scott, Multi McBear. Is it Motley McBear? I like that name. I say that every time, right? Mimi Praise has the wrench. Mask Mofo, Ryan and NC, David Gagnon, Greyhawk Following Christ has been around a long time. I can't say that. I don't even know what that says. So whatever. Little Monkey, Joe Santo. You want to grab a couple because there's a lot of your subscribers watching right now.
Well, I'll grab them at the end. Mimetics is the study of information and culture based on an analogy with Darwinian evolution. So let's break that down, okay? They are trying to evolve the mind into their goal, right? This is that hive mind concept. Proponents describe mimetics as an approach to evolutionary models of cultural information transfer. Mimetics describes how an idea can propagate successfully, but doesn't necessarily imply a concept that is factual. And this is that herding everyone into a thought process. And really, it's about dumbing people, us down. So I learned a long time ago that if I implied visuals along with me talking and audio, that I could capture the attention of the people much better than I could with just me talking. And the reason for that is because our attention spans are steadily on the decline. I think I saw somewhere where we got an attention span of a goldfish or something like that.
We've literally, I can't scientifically prove this because I've given up on science a long time ago. I used to use when we were talking about CERN all the time, I was using their own white papers. And then I came to the realization, this is all bullshit, man. This is all bullshit. So how can I use their own papers to back up what I'm saying? And then I started switching over to what the Bible was saying, and it made more sense. So the Bible is my science. But they did come to, they have using GMOs, vaccines, giant doses of medications, which are GMOs and vaccines, fluoride in the water, which is open. People, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I was telling people about fluoride in the water because I was seeing the fluoride tanks at the water facilities that I worked at. I'm like, oh, dude, they definitely put fluoride. Oh, that's a conspiracy. Well, now towns and cities are voting on it, and the federal government shuts them down. Fluoride is devastating to a living organism. It's a bad thing. It's not natural. It's a complete byproduct of Alcoa. And what is that? You know what I mean? Alcoa. And I'm sure the aluminum that's being sprinkled in Mike Decker's hair is from Alcoa. If you look on it, it probably says it. But yeah, they destroyed it. And then with the television shows and the reality shows where the action is in 3-second bites, you don't get a chance to get bored. People are glued to their seats. You know what it's amazing.
Yeah, and Aaron and Melissa with True Stream News did a real good job on that dopamine feedback loop cycle and how that, and of course that's the likes and everything else. How you're waiting for someone to like you and all this stuff. It's designed to hinder us from to live in this digital matrix instead of actually have real friendships. It's like when people text me all the time. if you text too many times, I'm going to tell you to give me a call because I want to actually talk to a real person.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. You text me too many times without me answering, and I block you. That'd be bad. Same thing with emails. You email me 4 times, and I haven't even responded to the first one. Spam. But I tell people that. You know, I think that's fair because, dude, I try to respond to emails. But at any rate, go ahead.
Yeah, and so you know, this is just how the system operates, right? It's xenoestrogens. All the metals are xenoestrogens in nature. They turn into xenoestrogens. That's why we're the testosterone levels are plummeting in men, and all this stuff, man. It works in conjunction with each other. They have a goal. It's the alchemical transmutation of society, not base metals, but base humanity, and all this. You know, if I could get anybody to ever understand anything, it is to know that it's not a bunch of random stuff working separately, but this is a combined effort that is working harmoniously to fulfill their desires.
When you're getting information through things like D-Wave and rituals, I mean, every time you start a war, all those deaths give whoever started that thing the power. So when they're doing rituals, they've got massive power. The amount of blood that was just spilled, all the soldiers wearing, I mean, when we're in the military, we're wearing nothing but sigils. Your stripes, your everything is a sigil in the military. It gives them a tremendous amount of power. When you're working with fallen angels that literally watched God create what we think is, you know, geometry. God said it. They saw it. They can't do it, but they can tell you how to do it as best you can. Do you know what I'm saying? Everything they do to me is on a it's multifaceted. Chemtrails don't just do one thing. They do numerous things. But so I was trying to put a point on what you said, or something like that.
Well, let's give JRS the reason.
That's why I'm holding it up there.
Yeah,
every one of us have covered this at one point or another. So
that's just too much for your average truther. That'd be like silent weapons for quiet wars. That's going to get into your protocols of the learned elders of Zion. That's going to get into the priory sign. All these, because men and women, normal men and women, do not want to believe just how evil really is, and it's too much for their minds to handle. Just how overarching this agenda is.
And it's amazing, in my opinion, that with people, I get it. I get it. If you do truly sit down and say, that's it, I'm going to find out what all this is about, and it takes, now you have to change your life.
That's right.
Everything just changed. Dude, I got stuck in a chair in front of a computer back in 2009. And I couldn't believe it. All I was doing was looking up the TR3B. I saw it on the History Channel. I was interested. I'm like, wow, they really can't debunk this photo. Like, that's a real piece of equipment. I find that interesting. That turned into the Illuminati. That turned into Zendrius. That turned into Illuminati's YouTube channel. It was on. It was on, but I was depressed. You had to make a change. It was, am I going to forget about this? Go back to gold chains, flat screens, and having sex with random women with my little sign on the wall that I used to turn over that said, I've never done this before, but because I thought that was hilarious. Because everyone says, "Oh, I've never done this with another guy." But at any rate, you know what? I should digress. Never mind. I digress.
Well, no, you make an excellent point, right? Because it really does. In the truth forces us to change ourselves. And what happens is you get down that rabbit hole and you realize the spiritual aspect of this battle. And once you get to that point, you think you're at the bottom of the rabbit hole, but really. You've got a long ways to go. And I've said to myself many times over just the last few years as I gained more understanding and knowledge that this has to be it. But, man, no, every corner that I turn that I think I've got this thing whipped, he puts another load on me saying, we're just getting started, buddy.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one of those things, Richie, that it sets the wheat from the tares apart. Is when you get to that point, are you willing to humble yourself before the Father and say, hey, man, you know, this is bigger than me, and that's the difference between us and them, so to speak. Is they're always in rebellion, and they will never humble themselves. They want to do it themselves.
I had that. This is just because this guy's from Belgium. What's up, brother? I know who the Belgian prepper is. What's up? Nice to see you in the chat. I had a comment posted up there, and somebody said, I'm not going to find it now, but he said, I had to walk away from Facebook. Listen. I just yelled this at one of my exes yesterday, real close to her face so she could hear me, because I figured proximity would make it sink in better. I said, Regina Dugan from DARPA came out on a huge black and purple and blue stage covered with triangles and octagons and stars of David, just covered, and said, Facebook has a new thing where we can take your thoughts, just the ones you've chosen to share. That was years ago. And then they dropped it. You think that they just said, people didn't, you know what? Let's just forget about that. Let me tell you something. If you can walk down the streets in New York looking at a billboard, and all of a sudden the billboard starts reading itself to just you in your head years ago, if they can read what you're thinking, what's going to stop them from putting thoughts in your head because you're sitting there on Facebook looking for friends, going in the other room and killing your kid? Do you know what I'm saying? Walk away from Facebook. I cannot believe the amount of channels that you've already mentioned one so far, big channels that I came up under, that are still, meet us over in a Facebook group. Well, I need to be on Facebook because walk away from Facebook. Facebook warned you. If you're still there, you're open game, man. It's completely open season. And it pisses me off that other big channels like that are still getting numbers, they don't seem to be getting censored, never explain the bottom line. It's God, it's Satan, and it's Israel. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't say those three things. Therefore, YouTube lets them slide.
You know, and I see, I tell you, someone else that I really enjoy that's gone is the Sean Haas and the Octagon too, and the Switzerland stuff too. But the overarching agenda and what we focus on, what I like to focus on, and I choose to focus on, is the Corpus Juris, which came out of Rome, and then of course the lawyers and the judges and the likes that are running this system out of America, and that would be Israel.
All of it. That video, I downloaded that video, Israel Inside. I downloaded it, and it's right here.
Yeah.
See that? It's right here. If they can somehow get that, I tried. There's no way I'm going to write down everything you said, because I'll forget what I'm doing halfway through and start making stuffing or figuring out how to build a transfer case, because I'll forget, because they got us all. Yeah, they do. The ADHD or whatever, the inability to keep a thought straight for the most part is in massive ingestions of fluoride and, in my case, heroin and stuff. It is what it is, but I do what I can now. Well, I can. That's why my videos are so short. Your videos are long. You're good at it, man. You're pretty good. Just keep the comment section out of his face, and he's 5 by 5.
Well, I have this it's not just the comments. It's that I want to give everybody the attention that I feel that they deserve. And because that's the way I feel, I sometimes end up losing my train of thought. But it's the staying on point is one of the hardest things to do, especially for me. And it's of course one of the best route I ever figured out was to go ahead and put all my thoughts down into that PowerPoint so I could stay on point. Nice. Check this question out right here. Because I know if somebody just walked in and just heard what I just said, they're like, this is it. Listen, I did a 5-part series, and it was a poorly edited, because I'm just learning how to edit. But at any rate, it was a poorly edited series, and I got hit on every single solitary video, and then they took my channel down. And after all my subscribers just emailing and tweeting, my channel came back up. But I couldn't get into it. They didn't make it easy, but they backed up. And it was, who are the Ashkenazi Jews? That's the question right here. Can you answer this without offending anybody or ending up on the evening news or a terrorist watch list or anything like that? Because this is America, and you can talk about anybody except, the people making the laws. They've made it tough. But first off, I would tell John Hagee to go run an etymology on the word Jew itself and figure out when it came into your English language. And then also I would go take a hop over to the Jewish Virtual Library, and I would look into the continuation of the Pharisees, which is modern Judaism. And the word, you can't migrate to the country of Israel without being able to have a rabbi say that you're not that you're part of Judaism, and quit conflicting these terms. I know there's American non-practicing Jews and things of that nature, but the little tribe that can sticks together. And no matter what, they always hide each other's. They want one thing they will never tell you. One won't come out and tell you about the Talmud, and if they do, like Howard Rosenthal, or what's the guy that wrote American Jew and Racist Marxist Israel? That was Jack Berenstain. I think that's how his name was pronounced. They just kill those off. So I would ask you to please go research, what does a Jew mean? What does the word Jew mean? And then from that point on, start identifying it as a religion, and quit talking about the people. And the people that are backing up this religion of death need to start talking out against it.
Son of a! Did you see the question that I had up there? He said it was a cop out. What I'm saying, what I was alluding to is, most of the prominent people that they claim to be officials and prime ministers and such in Israel, we already did trace them down, and they are Ashkenazis. I'm not saying it's all. It's an enormous. How about this? All of the people that people consider to be elites that the laws don't apply to because they write them, etc. Those are the assholes. How's that?
They're operating in a totally separate law system because they know how the law is set up. And eventually we'll get to a recognition of this. David Rockefeller, which the Rockefeller family is Sephardic Jews too. One of his favorite quotes was, "The key to success is to own nothing and control everything." They remain on the private side, where the public system can never touch them through trust and things of that nature. And so they manipulate the system as they go forward and keep this knowledge from everyone else. And these bloodlines probably go all the way back to Babylon and Egypt, whatever. But these words that they've been able to hide behind, the anti-Semitism and everything else, these are restrictions in thought. When you can't debate a subject, when you can't openly discuss a subject, it's automatically shut down. That means the powers that be don't want you discussing it. And at that point in time, you got to recognize that this is a regulation of all thought and consciousness, and this is a regulation of life.
I'm checking Twitter right now to see if I've got hit yet for putting that up, reminding the Twitter sphere that Palestinians are actually Semitic people, so the anti-Semite thing shouldn't work at all, but it still will. So I find that strange. I really do. Yeah, when like I said, I've never come across a channel, like we're Americans, dude. So if people talk different than us right off the bat, we think differently of them. It's just how we were raised. It's how it's all in the media. It's all in everything. You know, everything is divide and conquer no matter what. I'm from the North. You're from the South. So there was a war one time. So you and I don't like each other. Damn it. And Yankees, you know what I mean? Those damn hillbillies or whatever I don't even remember what we call them. Hillbilly, whatever. And the thing is, I start listening to your videos and I listen to every single solitary one of them back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, this kid is no joke. He's actually going after the language, which prompted me to put up that video saying this is going to piss off all you Second Amendment and constitutionalists because the Constitution has got nothing to do with us. This entire thing was set up to I'm stealing your words right now, but let me do it before I forget. There was never, ever a country like America. We were free to pick our own spot, do our own thing, blah, blah, blah. But this was a free Masonic experiment. It always was. They say it once in a while still. It's not a secret. This was set up to bring in the New World Order. Whether we did it the way they wanted us to, or whether they had to do what they're doing right now. Right now. They're taking stuff away left and right and charging you more and more money. Half your paycheck goes to people you don't even know. And then they just allegedly give it away to other countries that we're bombing and 18-wheelers full of cash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, yeah, but the overarching agenda was to dumb us down, and they started that in 1861 and probably a little bit further back than that. But, of course, your socialist viewpoint with John Dewey and a few others with the lowering of the literacy rate. If you go back into the 1800s and before, and even before the 1776 revolution, what you'll find is that America had the highest literacy rate in all the world. And what I mean by literacy rate, I mean comprehension, multiple languages, the ability to study the law. And the law system was set up at the beginning where the federal government had no rule over anybody. It just had that 10-mile square
dude, that's those 10 years ago when I was on YouTube and there was a lot of real channels that got rid of them back then, and I guess we didn't notice. That was it. That was the law. 10-mile square, 10-mile square. And people were still glossing over the fact that Washington was DC.
Yeah.
Most Americans don't even know that. District of Columbia.
That's right.
It's not even a part of this country, man. They get their own little thing going. And most people don't even realize that when you drive through DC, look at the license plates. It clearly says taxation without representation. It used to say no, but it's gone.
Yeah.
They just keep taking a little, and lately they're taking a lot. It's getting ugly, man.
Well, yeah, and it's because we don't have a knowledge base, a foundation of knowledge anymore. I mean, just look at read the children's books today and look at what children are getting taught in schools. I look at my younger brothers who are 18 years younger than me, and man, I'm gonna tell you, it's sad what they're sending them out to. But this is our reality, so we have to fight it.
It is, and this is another crazy thing right here that Doug Fishfried just put up.
Yeah, and that's one of those dangerous areas right there, and we know that. We see this. I'm gonna say the school SH. We see that now they bringing it back up with the so-called suing of Remington and everything else. Hey, look, folks, they want this stuff in your face all the time. That it was all the time.
Yeah, like this girl right here says, Common Core is ridiculous, and yet it's a thing. It doesn't even make any sense whatsoever at all. It's a thing. Oh, you know who? This is it. This was the compliment that he gave you. I was talking to the kid from NASA, the guy, offline, and he said, I started looking up some of the stuff that guy, Brandon, was talking about, the Civil War letters. And I said, that's what I'm saying. Back in the late 1800s, the number of highly what we would consider college educated people right now, 98 or 97% of these old settlers that were up, they make it look like everybody was idiots. These people were incredibly well spoken. They were incredibly well informed, without television, without cell phones, all this stuff. And now America is at the bottom of everything, of every country, and nobody seems to care. It's no big deal. It's amazing how they've done this. It's amazing how effective it is.
Well, back then, what you had was a man would walk into a tribunal court, which is what happens today. Make no mistake, these are magistrates. These aren't judges in a tribunal court, and he would run the judge out of there with his knowledge, because they knew how the system operated. And now what really broke me on that particular aspect was when I started getting into it, I'd ask the smartest people I knew, what do you know about the law? And when everybody you talk to says, huh, go ask a lawyer. Well, that means there's a whole separate part of society that has the upper hand on the rest of society. And of course, and that coalesces with the thought process that they don't even need the Freemasonry lodges anymore because they operate through the Greek societies at every single college and higher education place. And, this is one big club, like George Carlin said it, and you ain't in it.
You ain't in it. Just said we can't even remember telephone numbers anymore. Well, I'll tell you what, smartphones are the ultimate. They're the ultimate because people don't know how to use maps. They don't know how to read a map. They don't remember anybody. Like, seriously, your phone breaks. Do you panic? You panic like you lost a child. Like you don't, all your phone numbers are gone. All your pictures are gone. I mean, it's all backed up absolutely everywhere else. Half your pictures are on another website in another country right now, but I digress. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. We're paying for this. Every single day you hit the consent button just to get it out of the way and nobody even reads what it says. It's diabolical. It's unbelievable. They have to be sitting back looking at this going, wow, I didn't think this was going to work this well. I mean, we got a couple of jerks on YouTube that won't shut up, but that's okay.
But, you know, and that's the most diabolical thing about it at all. And when I delve into this stuff is that they have it's called tacit admission, right? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit this weekend. But tacit admission is this quote, sum it up: silence in the face of evil is evil itself. And that's what tacit admission is that your silence is taken as your consent. And, you know, that gets back into the belligerent claimant. That guy's made a few good comments. I can tell he's up on Sean Harass's information very, very highly.
Oh, brother, we've got some serious. It's amazing how many serious people, you know, on paper we have following us. I'm an engineer. I worked at CERN. I work for NASA. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to me. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I'm talking to a head doctor out of California prisons, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. He hit me the other day with a question that he knew I had to answer. Put me on the spot. And he said, "Don't lie to me." He said, "Am I sinning when I write these prescriptions?" And you know, in a tough spot like that, he knew the answer before I gave it to him, but he just wanted confirmation, right? And these men and women, I started praying for him instantly, and I hope that brother is in here tonight, because I understand the spot that he's in. We still, if we're not completely outside the system yet, being able to, we still have to survive, and it's a tough thing to be a part of.
We were literally given. We were given dominion over the planet, and many people, the plane, the firmament, whatever it is, okay, because someone just freaked out because they said planet. We were given dominion, and allegedly, the story is God giving us dominion over the entire earth pissed off so many of the angels that they fell, which put us in the pickle that we're in now, and now we pay to live here. We're the only thing on the earth that literally has to pay to live here. So I do get the quandary, but I'll tell you what, I wasn't a very good person my entire life. I wasn't necessarily very truthful my entire life, because it went hand in hand. You can't do crime and tell the truth. It doesn't work. You can have a real short career. At any rate, silence is consent. Once you open your eyes, it's either you turn around and walk away and just ignore it and hope for the best, somebody else will fix it, or you just keep quacking into a microphone till the wheels fall off. And that's all there is to it. It's all there is to it. When I was talking about really thinking about what it's going to be like when the lights go out and it's a wrap, I wasn't kidding. You know what I mean? And then magically, I get a whole bunch of emails from a bunch of other people that are saying, I'm thinking the same thing. After they shut us up, there's going to be no way to tell what happens after that. You're going to have to rely on the mainstream. And hopefully Turkey's not attacking our good ally Syria at the time, or a Kentucky gun. I mean, dude, that was absolutely outrageous. But if you're the military and you're taking over social media and you're getting ready to shut it down, you do things like that to see what Let's tell them a country's attacking another country. Show them, not even show them war footage from another country. Literally show them a gun show in Kentucky and see what they say afterwards. You know what America said? America's got talent. The Patriots are playing like they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care. So now they can do whatever they want, and they will, and they are.
Yeah, and they get away with it. It's amazing. Well, let's do this first. Why it works? Okay, the system is set up for us to worship heroes. Okay, and this is the hero worship and the man worship, and what we're always looking for is some man to come save us, and that's the way the system's designed, right? And it starts at early birth. You know. That these heroes are raised up on pedestals. They're put in stone all over the place, that they're great guys and everything else. And we truly believe this. But the truth is there's a quote by George MacDonald that says, "It is not in the nature of politics for good men to be in government." And the reason that is because good men don't want to rule their fellow men. And it's just that simple, right? If you truly have an understanding of this system. Squirrel, Mr. Mark. Hey, Mr. Mark. I like that guy.
I believe he's an engineer, actually.
Mr. Mark?
Yes.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's a very smart guy.
I like that guy. That's my buddy right there. He really is. Anyway, get back on the point here is I can't remember. I've lost it. It's gone.
That's all right. It'll come back to you. I wasn't even listening, so my bad. That's why I listen again before I go to bed, which is ridiculous, but I do. So there's that. All right.
That's my brother too. Hey, buddy, how you doing, Enigma?
Check this out. We've got 1,720 people watching right now. Any chance you guys could maybe hit the thumbs up button and see if we could share this, just to see if we could share this information? Now, this was a pretty good one. And this might actually be the linchpin that gets both of us taken down simultaneously. We thought it might happen before we did this. So that's where we're at right now. Just saying.
Hey, and look, guys, if y'all are looking for information on the Davening and stuff like that, that Judaism IS, I do want to give people a little bit of a warning on how the truth can be hidden with a lie. And this is one thing that I'm starting to see come out and be very prevalent, especially on Twitter and on YouTube. I'm starting to see a big push by the so-called Catholic Church, and this push that they're actually starting to out the Jew a little bit and saying, come back over here, come inside the Catholic Church. I'm going to tell you, inside the walls of temples built by men is just another area to stay away from. So while the Judaism.is it gives you a lot of the truth about Judaism, a lot of it, what I never see discussed is where the Corpus Juris and the Lex Mercatoria, which is the international merchant law system, operated and was made by, and that was Justinian, Emperor Justinian, and it come from Rome. Make no mistake about that, folks. This is why Shakespeare said many years ago, if you want peace, kill all the lawyers. You know, it's just be careful of that, folks. I just want to put that out there before I forget. I was thinking about it earlier.
That's the link that you sent me earlier, and you said, correct. Be careful. There's a lot of, it's eat the meat, spit out the bones. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, use your discernment. Use your, I wouldn't have sent this to you if this particular page, and much of it is probably 95% great stuff in there. It's great stuff. But that 5% is jurisdiction, presumption, consent, injured party. There you go, Rocky Shepard. Bro. He knows what he's talking about. And really the jurisdiction, right? So the original jurisdiction is always going to be the creator. It's never man. It's never man. If you wish to be ruled by man, you will be ruled by tyrants.
Indeed. Someone just said that there was a website up that claimed to be a military website that was up. And my only issue with it, if it was an actual military website, we couldn't just log into it, and all of us logged into it. And it said that in 2025, America would be down to 100 million from 300 million. First of all, we have no idea how many people are on this earth whatsoever at all. And it boggles my mind that people that are like, the government couldn't keep a secret. They have no idea what's going on. They can't handle anything. There's 8.73226 billion people on earth right now. And we've calculated everyone will be, come on, man. Seriously.
You know this. You drive all over the place.
All over. There is more room. There's more room than there are people.
That's right. You get outside these Sodom and Gomorrah cities, and you start driving through. The only place that I've ever lived and ever worked that is people living on top of people throughout the whole state is Louisiana. Right. I don't know why that is, but you get anywhere else and you go vast areas of nothingness. Nothing. I mean, just nothing.
Everyone should take Nick Memphis's advice, because clearly that's a real thumbnail. Nick Memphis is done. Richie used to be one of us. Now it's all one-sided, unsubed. Everyone should unsub for me, because I'm no longer one of you somehow. There you go. Okay, Nick. Thanks.
Remember, don't
what that means. Yeah, I'm going to guess that Nick was a bot, because Nick was, she unsubed.
She unsubed?
Yeah. Richie doesn't chase celebrities making secret hand signals anymore. Because you know what? They know that we know. So they're doing it for views. So who cares? We're way past that. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying it. Any single night, Brandon's here, NASA, whoever's here, I can do an hour easy with brand new news links that are talking about why children should be naked, why people should be able to sleep with them, how come Satan needs to be taught absolutely every place. And then there was one other thing. Squirrels. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Things are progressing, things are speeding up, and they're planning on shutting us all down one way or the other. So here that comes as well. So get it while you can. I've put everything that Brandon, Nicholson 1968, and several other channels that I know for a fact have solid information on an external hard drive. Not one, but two, in case your computer gets zapped, because lots of us have had that happen over the years. So if you value this and you want to see it at a later point, YouTube is going to go completely mainstream. And I get it. I'm on BitChute. I'm on Minds. I'm on all those. They're going to buy them just like they did. I was paying to be on Vimeo. I put up Vaxxed and they took me down, and I can't sign in no matter what using anyone else's. It's amazing. I can't sign in using any litany. That's not even the right way to say it, because Brandon will figure that out. He'll be like, litany doesn't apply. I can't use any variation of my emails to try to sign in. It seems to know who I am. So,
and you know, it's one of those things where we knew this was coming. There were some great channels that saw it when they come out with the YouTube Red. That they knew that this was just going to become another television platform. You know, it's the nature of the beast. We've had our time here. I don't expect it to last forever. But the information that it'll be there. It'll be there.
For years, we've been saying when they finally shut everybody down, they couldn't do it overnight because that could backfire. If everybody got taken down, wait a minute. But they're doing it slowly, and they're doing it with completely legal propaganda, because Smith-Mundt Act was repealed, and nobody seems to care about that. It's a huge deal, and nobody seems to care. They can legally use propaganda against us. There's no recourse against them. They are using propaganda, Sandy Hook, everything that they can dredge up to why people are, the earth is flat. That is just ridiculous. No. You know what's ridiculous? Think about this. Just think about this. Conceptualize this in your mind for a moment. The earth is this giant, huge rock floating in space that is kind of hot, kind of a vacuum, kind of got a sun up there, kind of got a moon. Plus, it's spinning at this ridiculous rate, except the rate doesn't change if you go from the very top, which is 0, to the equator, which makes no. If you start looking into any of it, it's completely and totally ridiculous. Scientists forever have tried to prove the Earth's speed and can't, and it actually backfired on them. Mickelson and Morley were brilliant guys, and they completely villainized them. You know what I'm saying? It's completely. We went to the moon before I was born, but we don't go back ever again at all. And if we do, it's all, super low definition, terrible footage, and there's never any. It's all a lie. It's
well, they know that we have.
Don't believe your senses anymore, man.
Well, they know they can't go back to the moon because we have technology that's sold at Walmart that we can see it. So
there's a reason they made the P1000 giant and terrible. The P900 is a way better camera. So if you don't have one and you're looking, get the P900. They're much cheaper, and they work much better. The P1000 sucks, in my opinion. So there's that. And I dropped mine out of the moving window of my truck, so mine's broke. But I don't know if it's broke, but it's gone. So
besides anyone corroborated anything he predicts,
jump in your chat and say what's up to your people. You got a lot of people watching right now, brother.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's say hello. Let's do that. Hey, Angela. Hey, Pam. Hey, Paul. Candace. Scott. Enigma. Hey, buddy. I've been missing seeing you, brother. Hey, guys. I just wanted to tell everybody hello while we got a minute here. It's scrolling through here. Let me get through here. I see Yezreel, Roman Noodle, changing the game. Hey, Shauna, Scott, Chad. Hey, brother Chad. Fish out of water. Hey, brother Gary, Monique. That'll be good. Hey, Karen. See you too. Truth will set you free. All right, guys.
Indeed. Richie from Boston, Brandon the Big Sib. Brandon has gone into this topic big time. I just wanted him to gloss over it for me and for you guys. But anytime you've got an hour or so to kill, throw your headphones on and check out Big Sib's channel because it's phenomenal and it's on point. And I know a lot of people aren't digging what we're saying about the Talmud and the Torah, etc. It is what it is, man. So
yeah, it's tough to break through that cognitive dissonance. This is a programming. It's one of those deep level programmings that have that started from birth. You have been told one thing. It's like it's something akin to the Santa Claus programming that I try to get through to people. You know, it's something that wells up anger inside of them. That's how deep the programming is. And like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, guys, don't go take the Talmud and go shove it in somebody's face the first time you're trying to tell them something. It's just too shocking. It's too much.
Right. Well, stand by. Rhonda, what are you trying to say? But you're not telling the truth about the treacherous dealer.google.oe. What?
Yeah,
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm not understanding that, Rhonda.
Leave it in the comments and someone will get back to you, so don't worry. Yeah, hey, Belgian Prepper, don't watch that channel anymore, dude. The kid's out of his absolute mind. I can see a drug addict a long way away. He's not being a dick, but he's deceived a lot of people. So there's that. I didn't know there was a Mandela film. I am not the best. You probably wouldn't like me if you met me in person, but when I do this, I pray that I don't bring anyone down the wrong road. And believe it or not, if you ever spent any time around me, it's weird how God talks to me. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't mean he talks to me like, Richie, you need to go make a ham sandwich. He pushes me in the right direction. So there's that. And I pray a lot because this is overwhelming by a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough to get through it. It's tough to get through the cognitive dissonance. It's tough. It's very tough for people to understand that we've always talked in terms of the New World Order's coming, but I hate to break it to you, the New World Order's been here since the New Deal in 1938.
Right, and I think after George Poppy Bush oversaw Kennedy's head exploding in front of everybody,
they showed you.
I think they were like, okay, it's time. Because he was Molech or he wasn't. He was Magog.
Yeah,
that was his little secret name. That dude was the most evil MFer ever. You know, it amazes me that Americans were like, yeah, we got the ex-CIA chief in charge. Yeah, you don't want that guy. That's the same. You know, it's ironic. It's just ironic. And then the Smith-Munn Act and nobody cares. That's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. I had a special forces guy. You know who I'm talking to. Hit me on a text. You owe me one. He said, my job is PSYOPs. I did 3 tours in Iraq, 3 tours in Afghanistan because they wouldn't let me come home. He stood in front of his wife and 5 children and said to me face to face, when I came home, I could not believe the amount of psychological operations being used on a daily basis against the American people. And I'm like, then he's like, what am I going to do? Well, they're all caught in the same system. You have to work. You can't be homeless in America. You will go to jail.
Yeah.
You know, teach a man to fish. Well, teach a man to get a fishing permit first. You know what I'm saying? It's on. Well,
and I'm going to tell you something too. You know, that's just like the rebuttal I wrote out today to the IRS. It's nothing short of a miracle that I've come to this recognition and understanding of how to do this. But hey, man, this takes years of understanding of actual. Man, the books I read the most are dictionaries, man. And who's going to read dictionaries all night? You know, you never think in a million years that the basis of the deception starts with the basic building blocks of all language, and that's the word. The manipulations of our words is the manipulation of our reality, and it manipulates the people who have to use the words. It's just crazy. It's insane. That this is the truth, but it is the truth, and accept it we must, because once we accept it, we're not in denial anymore. We can start doing things about it.
Wow. All right, man.
You must have saw something you didn't like.
No. Somebody said, I'm trying to answer the comments with other comments. Someone's like, who's that behind you? And he said, I think it's his butler. And I'm looking at Truth Will Set You Free. You look kind of young in this. Everyone that's got a YouTube channel must have that new legal notice up top that says, are your videos made for children? Because you have to clarify.
Yeah,
it's either they are or they aren't. And I'm going to say, no, mine aren't. I wish they were, but they're not. I don't even consider making videos for kids because
well,
go horribly wrong, you know.
I'm gonna tell you, some little young man, and that may be him, emailed me the other day, and he said he was 18 years old or something, and he was watching my channel, talking about he was ready to quit college and go do something else on his own. Man, if you're 18 years old and you're watching this, man, you've got to, and understanding it, you're actually, yeah, there it is. And you got a good life ahead of you. You're going to be ahead of the ball game for sure. I didn't even start getting close to figuring it out till I was 35 years old. And then I was pissed. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen.
That is terrible language. Unbelievable.
I was pissed off because my life had been stolen from me because I had been living a lie. It really aggravated me. It really messed me up when I figured it out.
You see, now that's a very, very similar reason to why I started doing this, because my life was just nothing but bad things happening to me, everyone around me, blah, blah, blah. Drug addiction, which, I didn't go like, hey, I'm going to start doing drugs. I think that'll be a great idea. Maybe I can get hooked. That'll be phenomenal. Went to a doctor. He gave me a bunch of perks. You know the story. And it was on. I finally get clean. Richie, how did you stop doing heroin? My answer back then was God put his hand on my shoulder and said, you had enough. So I finally get clean. The world is my oyster. Here we go. Everything's great. And I discover all this is going on. And I was pissed. And then what pissed me off more is when you tried to share it with people that you knew, loved, and respected, they were like, yeah, New World Order. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, 9/11. That was, that. It's like, really, dude? Really? Seriously? How is everybody that I know that is? I mean, these people have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees. They're incredibly smart. How did that building come down in 9 seconds? It can't. It can't.
No,
it can't. And then another one did. And then later in the day, another one did. And the weird thing is they said it came down before it did, then it did anyways. And then a plane disappeared in the middle of Shanksville. It just disappeared. It's gone. Nothing to see here, folks. That's Whitey Bulger standing behind me. He showed up in the mail the other day. Supposed to be a butler, but he looks like Whitey Bulger. So, at any rate, all right. You good?
I'm good, brother. I think we rocked it again. If we'll try to make this on Monday nights. I was out hiking with my kids.
If you're with your kids, brother, it's all good. It's all good. It's not like that. We can do it when we can. Why is Brandon wearing a pyramid shirt? The builders who rejected the cornerstone, Acts 4:11. How do you feel now, world of last days? Exactly. Judge not, lest ye. See how I just said that? I said ye.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just amazing what people are looking for. And listen, this is part of while we're on this subject, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you are always looking for a reason to not listen to the information and looking for a sign or something from somebody, that's part of your programming too, because your programming is instituted for you to not trust anyone. That's why I told you from the get-go, don't love me, love the information. If you go out and test the information that I have presented to you, you will come back knowing that I have not lied to you. And at that point, my fruits will bear my record and not the words out of my mouth. My fruits will do it.
Let me explain something to you. There's a lot of really well-edited, really well-spoken people that actually have been making videos for 20, 30 years that jumped on YouTube, and they're really big channels. They don't seem to be getting hit like we are. Like I couldn't crack 30,000 views right now to save my life. Back in the day, 30,000, it's like, oh, that video must have sucked. I should probably pull it. They're not telling you about Jesus. They're not telling you. They're not having their biggest problem of the day isn't, should I say Jesus or Yahushua? Because it's starting to bother me. You know what I mean? Because I understand that Jay wasn't even invented. I get it. It just doesn't feel natural, but I started doing it. It is what it is. If they're not explaining to you that you need to be prepared. Be ready. Be ready. Do not be a victim. Remember 9/11. None of us saw that coming. None of us saw that coming. 9/11 was bad, but remember the Boston bombing. 2 dudes, allegedly, they shut down this entire city. Boston's not small. They shut it down. Came to people's houses, took women with holding their children out at the end of a rifle. 6 guys. He just freaked me out just then. He just freaked me out. I saw him out of the corner of my eye. 6 dudes coming up your porch, pointing a gun at you in case you were somehow a woman. You were a dude dressed in a woman's suit holding a baby. That's insane. They weren't letting people in and out of their own houses for a day at a time. Imagine the next event, because they know they can get away with it, because everybody was chanting USA in the streets of Boston after it was over. The most contrived, ridiculous event ever. Remember that. Be ready. Be prepared. Or don't. Richie from Boston, Brandon the Big Sib. We are out.